and welcome back to Dylan and Ross Save Sports, where sometimes pro days matter and sometimes they don't, apparently. And I am your host, as always, Dylan Sanders. You can vote on Twitter at Dilly Sanders. And then I'm joined today, as always, by Ross Jackson Nola, who you can vote on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola. How are you doing today, Rolf?
Doing great. Glad to be here with you, man. Thanks so much. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to be with you, my man. How you doing?
Okay.
I'm doing good. You know, I just finished some schoolwork.
Dope.
So you know how it be.
I do know how it be. You also have good news in that you can actually share things with sound now.
Yes,
so we're continuing to get better here on the show.
Yes, I can. I now can do something that we do every day. I can now do it.
What an outstanding day we're having.
And Ross, to add to that, do you want to just go ahead and get into my favorite thing from Twitter?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get into it, Ross. This is something that I think you like. So I made the joke about pro days, and normally, Ross, pro days don't matter unless you do what Landon Dickerson did today.
Yes, this is my favorite thing from Twitter as well. We're on the same page entirely.
Let me see. There we go.
This was so great too.
Let's see. There we go. Share.
Yeah, I love great moments like this.
Here we go. This is during the interview that Mac Jones was doing with the SEC Network.
Right.
He went by and did cartwheels by him in front of the camera.
Good.
It's especially because it's an offensive lineman doing cartwheels.
Right.
What better way to show that you're athletic?
Right.
And B, he has knee concerns, Ross.
Right. Yeah, he had ACL stuff. He had squatted like a ton of weight as well earlier in the day with the pro day and with the workouts leading up to, and then now he's out there doing cartwheels. That was fun.
I think the knee's okay.
I think the knee's fine. I think he alleviates concerns. And what a strategic. I don't know if he meant like if he did this.
Oh, it was over.
It had to be strategic, right? It had to be orchestrated from his perspective of like, I'm going to do cartwheels behind Mac's interview because everyone will see this.
Yeah, everyone's going to be watching.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Teams will be watching. Teams will be watching.
Smart.
Landon Dickerson, first round confirmed?
Number 1 overall selection?
Oh.
I love it, man. I thought it was great. I love seeing that. Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite things that was going to be my favorite thing from Twitter too. And then they carried on too between the two of them, like joking around and everything. And so you really got to see the personality between the two of them and stuff. And you know, how much Mac was just like loving it and laughing and enjoying himself and things like that. I thought that was great. Thought that was fun. But yeah, that knocks out my favorite thing from Twitter today as well. So let's go to performance of the day as we always do. Actually, wait, I'll throw out one more quick favorite thing from Twitter that actually just happened just before we went live. Michael Strahan went and did something for himself and got some dental work done to remove or to close the gap in his teeth. So Michael Strahan no longer with the gap between the two front teeth, the signature gap. But he did it for himself. He didn't do it because of anything going on. It was something he wanted to do, and I thought it was pretty dope. It was awesome for him.
Yeah, happy.
Yeah, I can't wait. I've got dental insurance coming up here soon. That's gonna like into the next phase of things being open. I'm gonna just go get all my teeth taken out and get the Jamie Foxxes, and just be ready to go. That's my plan. Replace them in 15 years, and then I'm good.
You're good.
Mm-hmm.
You're vibing, Ross.
Yep. That's my plan.
Yeah. Our performance today, I think, is shared between two people, Ross.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be two people that are going to be facing off on Friday night.
Oh, I can't wait.
It is out of Arizona, Ari McDonald, and out of Yukon, Paige Bueckers. Paige Buckets. Paige Buckets is, I think, my favorite nickname of all time.
Great nickname. Great player. They were both phenomenal in their games. I was a little worried about UConn for a little bit. Was it a foul, Dylan? The foul at the end? So let's set the scene. Baylor gets another shot to tie up the game. And really actually even take the lead and push this game a little bit further. Carrington gets a possession down low, turns to shoot the shot. You got 2 UConn Huskies on her. Now there's all this contention, right? She misses, get the rebound, and then later on, Paige Bueckers ends up stealing a long inbound pass from the opposite side after they extend the lead a little bit on the opposite side of the floor after some free throws. But things stayed a little bit closer in range than it needed to, right? 3 really pivotal missed free throws, everything, and then making one to make it a 2-point game down low. It was kind of a wild situation. Here's a photo of it for those that are watching. Lots of folks talking about it was a foul. Lots of folks saying it wasn't. Where do you sit on this?
Well, see, Ross, I sit right here.
Yeah.
And the ball being right here.
Yeah.
It was a foul.
It was a foul. It was absolutely a foul. As much as I love UConn, it was a foul.
As I will say, I'll play devil's advocate and say that Baylor got bailed out a lot that game with fouls too.
Sure.
Which I'm not really a fan of, because it's like, okay, well, it's play by Baylor. You just make the right calls.
Right.
But they were consistent in not calling stuff like that. At least. Yeah. I will say through their eyes. So it was a consistency throughout the game. However, it was a foul and should have been called.
Yeah.
And who knows? And listen, college men's and women's college basketball free throws are like college kickers. You just assume they're going to go in, but you never know.
You never know.
You never know. You assume it should be like easy, but you never know.
Yeah, simply. So UConn ends up skirting past Baylor, the Lady Bears, 69-67, nice. And Paige Bueckers and the UConn Huskies move on. I've got UConn going all the way, but I cannot wait for this next matchup with Arie McDonald and the Arizona Wildcats. I'm so excited about this.
Arie,
yeah.
And no, I'm trying to think of nicknames.
Oh,
Arie. I don't know. Air Jordan.
Arie.
Arie.
The Arizona Wildcats get pat. Oh, listen, you got it.
Arie McDonald had a bucket instead of Old McDonald had a farm.
E-I-E-I-O. Oh man, I'm so excited for this matchup. The Arizona Wildcats get past the Indiana Hoosiers in the women's Elite 8 to move on to the Final Four, 66-53. So it'll be Arie and the Arizona Wildcats taking on Paige Bueckers and the UConn Huskies on Friday, and I cannot wait for this game.
Can we give a shout out to Arie McDonald for scoring literally half of the Wildcats points?
Yes.
Exactly 50%.
Literally half. 33 points in that matchup. 33 of the 66 points that were scored. Ended up going out of the game for a little while with ankle concern. Because she got tangled up with an Indiana Hoosiers player and then ended up twisting her left ankle, if I remember correctly. And it looked bad. It looked bad at first. Like she was hiding her face and everything. I thought maybe it was a knee thing and stuff, but thankfully, quote unquote, just an ankle. But it did not seem to stop her at all. Did not seem to stop her at all once she got back out on the court.
And Ross, I think you're going to be happy about where Arie McDonald, because I looked it up after, where Arie McDonald is being mocked to a lot in the WNBA draft. It's the Chicago Sky.
Let's go. I love that.
Talk about a fit.
Oh my goodness. Yes,
Talk
absolutely.
About a fit. Arie McDonald in the Chicago Sky. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Great.
Yeah, I can't wait. Who are you? Do you have a team that you're rooting for, or do you just want a good game?
I just want a good game between the two, but I am all in on UConn in the women's tournament and then Gonzaga in the men's tournament. That's where I've been. I'll stay consistent with that. Ari McDonald is probably my favorite player right now, but I've been pushing for UConn, so I'm gonna keep rooting for UConn.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Ari McDonald in Arizona would be a great story.
Yeah, fantastic story. This is their first ever Final Four appearance in the women's NCAA. This is great. And meanwhile, it's the 16th straight for Gino and UConn or something like that, or 6th straight. I can't remember what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's something wild, but they've done this a ton of times, and they're headed back. UConn is. So I'm very excited.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very, very excited.
And we're also going to see tonight.
Yeah,
we're going to see Dana Evans out of Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see who else is rocking still. That's we got Kiana Williams and Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
And those are going to be the big players that are still available. So it'll be a good matchup between those two, the 2 point guards. And then of course Charlie Collier is still in who's been the lock number 1 pick for a while.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
And yeah. So shout out to Texas. It'd be awesome to see a 6 seed Texas move even further. Of course, that game, Texas, South Carolina on ESPN at 6 p.m. and then Louisville, Stanford at 8 p.m. following that game. 2 really good games on ESPN.
Yeah, Texas has been solid, like really, really good, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm excited for those matchups tonight.
Mm-hmm. And of course, tonight we're also going to be getting you. This is a great 2 games of men's basketball as well.
Mm-hmm.
We got USC and the Mobley brothers
mm-hmm.
versus the starting 5 of Gonzaga.
Right.
The Handlebar and Suggs. Yeah. It'd be really awesome to see Jalen Suggs and Paige Bueckers both win. Because I've been reading a lot about like their relationship, and I love it. It's great. Paige Bueckers. You want to know how close they are, Ross?
How close?
Because this is only something the closest to friends can do.
Mm-hmm.
Paige can walk into the Suggs house without knocking.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I respect that.
Yeah. And just sit on the couch.
I love it.
And just hang out until someone comes.
That's so
that's how you know you're a close friend.
Yeah, you don't do that with acquaintances.
No.
You get the cops called on you if you're an acquaintance, or worse. You get beat up if you're an acquaintance.
Maybe not if you're paid.
Right.
Maybe not if you're paid.
Maybe not if you're paid. Yeah, that's true. You're probably not getting the cops called on your page. You're going to get a lot of questions, though. What are you doing here? Why are you here? Paige would quickly get the benefit of the doubt. But, it's a big thing when you have that type of trust and you've grown up together like that. I think their story is pretty incredible, the both of them.
Yeah, I'm sad to see Arkansas get knocked out because though, I'm not a big SEC guy, I'm a big fan of Moses Moody. Yeah. They shared that incredible video. I don't know if you saw it, Ross, whenever LSU, I think it was during the SEC tournament. It might've been whenever LSU was going up against Arkansas. They showed an incredible video of him reading a poem in front of his class in high school. And it was awesome. I've been a big fan of him ever since. And I looked more into Moses Moody. I'm a big fan of his future top 10 draft pick. Yeah. In this upcoming draft. Yeah. So USC Gonzaga, and then we're also going to get UCLA Michigan.
Both very good games.
Which do you think we're going to see a 1 seed fall tonight, Ross?
No, I don't. If there is one that's more likely to fall, for me, it's Michigan. Yeah. Although I think that like UCLA Gonzaga though is up against, I think, the toughest competition they will have played and will play moving
this entire
forward
season.
To the rest of the tournament. Yeah.
This entire season, probably.
Yeah.
Oregon State almost made it a game last night against Houston. Couldn't.
Almost.
Almost. Arkansas beat Baylor. I mean, almost. Arkansas kept it interesting against Baylor. But Baylor moved on. But yeah, no, those two games were just like Houston versus Baylor. That's gonna be a good one. Those are just
I think that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Those are two clinical basketball teams.
Mm-hmm.
I have Houston moving on in that case. I think.
Ooh.
Houston moving on.
And I need Baylor to move on.
Yeah.
I don't have a Locked On Houston show, so
sorry. But I will say, I think I hope Gonzaga wins because I think USC versus UCLA or Michigan is not going to be as fun as a matchup Gonzaga versus one of those teams will be. But Gonzaga versus USC is going to be awesome.
Yes. Yeah, that's the game I'm really looking forward to tonight. That's the one I'm going to be like all up in. I'm going to be super nervous about it the entire night, like while watching it.
Unless it's a blowout. Unless it's a blowout, but I don't see it being a blowout.
Yeah.
I think it'll be close.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. I'm excited. How much have you watched of USC during this tournament?
Every game.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Evan Mobley.
Yeah. I think they're both very good.
They're both very good, yes. But Evan Mobley is just a specimen to watch because of he moves like a guard.
Yeah, at his size, which is just insane. Yeah. Which is just insane. Yeah, he's an incredible talent. Both of them are, but he's an incredible talent in particular. And I don't know, man. I'm very excited to see this because I feel like watching these two teams, they couldn't be more different than one another. Right? You have this long, super athletic, fast-paced team in USC, whereas you have this more like clinical, surgical, precise, slower, like they're willing to take their time and dissect type of team, sort of cerebral team of Gonzaga. So I'm really interested to see these two teams go up against one another and who's going to dictate the pace and therefore who has the better matchup here.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to see. Let me look. I'm looking to see when the last NBA mock draft happened for ESPN, and it looks like it was they haven't done anything during the tournament.
Well, that seems like a missed opportunity.
Exactly, right?
Where's your digital content presence, ESPN?
But I have an article from Bleach Report on March's biggest draft risers.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see how this draft has how the March Madness has affected the draft, because I think that like it's definitely a different world compared to like college football, like bowl games or playoff games or anything like that. Like these matter, and these will change. All right. Chris Duarte out of Oregon, they list as a riser.
Yeah, definitely.
Joseph Giddey. He is not. Let's see. Okay, well, he's just been back since the draft started, but he plays in Australia, so I don't know why he's.
All right.
I don't know why he's on this list. Quentin Grimes out of Houston is someone that's big. Because didn't he transfer out of somewhere? I remember him being somewhere else. Yes, he played for Kansas, and then I remember him because he had some hype. Then he transferred to Houston and has been killing it for Houston. Trey Mann out of Florida.
Yeah.
Who love him, but man, I really gotta say, do not like the 100 tattoo.
He's just trying to keep it 100.
Miles McBride out of West Virginia had a good couple games. Davian Mitchell out of Baylor is a big one, and then they also listed Austin Reeves out of Oklahoma.
Duarte is the one that really stands out the most for me out of all those guys.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed watching him when Oregon was still in the tournament. He made some big plays down the stretch for their last win too. Yeah, I really like him.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm see. NBA ESPN has their draft rankings, but again they haven't been changing. Yeah, so Evan Mobley's at 2. Jalen Suggs at 5. If I am an NBA team, I'm taking. I think I'm taking Jalen Suggs at 2.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Am I crazy?
Yeah,
Am I crazy for that?
No, not at all. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Some big players tonight. Let's see where they rank. Corey Kispert at 10.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Corey Kispert. Cameron Thomas jumped up to 14.
That's good.
You love to see it. I'm excited for the draft. I'm excited for the NBA draft lottery. We got those dates. Those are going to be at the end of June. Mm-hmm. Well, the lottery's going to be in the end of June, and then so on and so forth. How are you liking the NBA right now? What's going on?
I kind of like the NBA, but I have not been paying as much attention to it as I have been March Madness because I've really gotten into college basketball this season. These games have been so good. These players are such high quality, everything like that, all my focus has gone to March Madness. But I will say that I continue, of course, to tune into the teams that I'm closest to. So the Pelicans continue to be fun to watch. 28 points from Zion Williamson, who continues to have a phenomenal season. Pelicans 5 and 3 over their last 8 games. And the Lakers still struggling without their star players, which makes a ton of sense, right? Like there's nothing there that should be surprising in terms of all that. Those are kind of the things that I've really been keeping up with, the teams that I'm closest to, or literally the teams that are closest to me. But I think I have a lot of catching up to do. What are some of the big things that have been going on here recently?
Again, it's just been a lot of what we know has just continued to happen. The Rockets stink. The Jazz and Sun are great. Suns are great. The Clippers are on the rise, which is funny to say because they're the 3 seed and have been, but they're still on the rise. They're getting better. They're 8-2 in their last 10. The Nets are starting to form together. Their relationship's starting to mold together, and they're kind of looking unbeatable in a 7-game series, if I'm being real. And Durant's been out. So
right.
So you'll still get to add Durant back into that system. But can I say something wrong?
Yeah, please.
James Harden should win a second MVP this season.
Ooh.
I don't think it's very close.
Wow.
He's been incredible. He's been more efficient. I think he should be the MVP. It seems like every night he's a walking triple double.
Mm-hmm.
He's good.
Let's see. Right now, he is 9th in scoring.
Mm-hmm.
He is. Well, I mean, he's not going to be very high in rebounds. I don't think there's any.
He's top 20 in rebounds.
But he is top 20. He's 18th right now in rebounds.
Yeah.
Which is still pretty good.
For a guard?
Good. Yeah, absolutely. He is first in assists with 11.2 assists per game.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty insane. And he's got 1.3 steals per game, which makes him tied for around like the 19th best area there. But, probably the 4th or 5th best total there.
Yeah, I think it's between him and Nikola Jokic, which is going to be tough because they're both on good teams.
Yeah,
I think it'd be easier if they weren't both good both on good teams.
Yeah.
James Harden is the second highest non-center or guard in terms of center or forward when it comes to he's the highest backcourt member basically. The second highest backcourt behind Russell Westbrook. Who can you compare him to? Honestly,
right.
Did you see his stat line from yesterday? 30 35 points, a block, 2 steals, 21 assists, and 14 rebounds.
Jesus. And didn't he on like last week, didn't he have like 17 assists in a game?
So these are his last 3 games.
Uh-huh.
So 35 points, 21 assists, 14 rebounds, 19 points, 10 assists, 19 rebounds, 13 points, 9 assists, 18 rebounds. And then a couple days ago, he had 29 points, 13 rebounds, 13 assists.
Jeez.
He is just a walking full stat sheet.
Yeah, for real. He's just filling everything right now.
Yes, he had 23 points and 17 assists against the Bucks.
Bucks, right.
And then 23 points, 15 assists, and 6 rebounds against the Grizzlies at one point. Absurdity, dude.
Yeah. So he's probably right now your MVP front runner, and the biggest competition being Luka.
Nikola.
No, Nikola Jokic. Sorry, excuse me.
Yes. Basketball Reference has an MVP thing. Basketball. So let me see. Basketball Reference MVP. It is right now. It is okay. Yes, Nikola Jokic leading with a 53% probability. Second place is James Harden with 19.3%.
Not bad.
But of course, James Harden's on the rise.
Yeah. He was already a 2017, 2018 MVP. Can he get it in 2021, 2022, or I guess 2020, 2021?
Yeah. So it all depends on what you find. So they're very similar. So Jokic has 26.9 points. James Harden has 26.1 points. James Harden averages 11 assists and 8 rebounds. Nikola Jokic averages 11 rebounds and 8 assists.
So it's kind of about what it is that you value.
Yeah.
More-ish, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're both very, very good for slightly different reasons.
And the Nets themselves are a better team, which is a lot of the times that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I would say, but is James Harden more valuable to his team than Nikola Jokic? Who knows?
Right.
Because of the high star power. And can I just say, before we go to break, Ross, I want to say that the Brooklyn Nets are doing absolutely nothing different than the Los Angeles Lakers have been doing for the best 2 or 3 years.
Right. Yeah. Or the Miami Heat doing before them, or you know what I mean?
The Nets are doing the same exact thing that the Lakers did.
Yeah.
So I do not want to hear any Lakers fans like, "Oh, this to stop LeBron." Let me tell you something. That's what the NBA is about. It's to beat players. It's to beat the opponent.
Yeah, and inherently right now, like the Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, they are the reigning champs. So to an extent, yes, it is all to compete with the best team in the NBA, who, if you consider the former champion the best team in the NBA, then that would make sense. But specifically because it's like to slight LeBron or something like that, like that's just a little bit too far. But yeah, I mean, if you're the Nets, you have to be competitive against the team that won the championship last year. So yeah, there is that level of, building up to compete for a championship.
And the Lakers just signed Andre Drummond, who is better than anyone that the Nets have signed.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. I liked you did a post not too long ago that was like the Lakers have this piece and this piece, and then these pieces, and then the Nets have this piece, and this piece, and then these pieces. So it was like, yeah, the Nets have like one better star maybe, but in terms of the overall makeup of the team, the Lakers still look better on paper.
Yeah. Because
the Nets have a bunch of players that were really good 4 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, because I listed as old LaMarcus Aldridge and old Blake Griffin.
Right. Like those guys don't really move the needle for you now the same way they would have moved the needle
good role
for
players.
You in, say, 2016.
They're good role players.
Definitely.
But what has every championship team in the history of the NBA done at the trade deadline? Sign good old role players.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't get the whole outrage over the Nets saying they ruined the league. It's the same thing that's been done for every championship in the existence of ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
All right, y'all. Up next, we're going to get to some NFL free agency talk and NFL 2021 season talk. The NFL owners have voted to add the 17th game for the season and remove a preseason game. We'll talk about that and some of the better options that we're going to get from that 17th added game. We'll have that coming up for you here in just a moment on today's episode. Dylan and Ross Say Sports, part of Full Press Coverage, Full Press Radio Network. Audio break.
So, like, some players are like not playing any preseason games, right?
Yeah, like I can't imagine, right? Like I cannot imagine that.
I gotta feel like the first game of the season is gonna feel like a preseason game.
I mean, that's certainly been the case for a lot of teams here recently, and teams have been okay with that.
Because you can, yeah, I don't know, whatever.
You know, like the Rams barely play anybody during the preseason.
We need to do a draft again soon. We haven't done a first round mock draft.
I'm all about it. We can do that today.
Bet.
I don't care.
Pro Football Network.
Do they have the right? Oh yeah, they do have the right first round order.
Ross, I'm so.
They don't
annoyed.
have the right full draft order, but they have the right first round order.
I'm so annoyed. I didn't end up posting it on Twitter because I didn't have the time to like go through and make a whole thread. But the day before the trade, I had a mock draft where the 49ers traded up to the third for a quarterback. Quarterback. So I was so annoyed. I was like, oh, I should have. If only I had the time to put it on Twitter. I was so annoyed.
I love it.
So, but we're using the Pro Football Network draft.
Go for it. That's fine. Go ahead and pull it up, have it ready, and then we'll do 17th game stuff when we come back, and then we'll dive into the first round mock draft.
Dope.
I'm all about it.
I'm all about it. I'm all about it, Ross.
About it.
How's everyone doing in the chat? If you're watching, don't forget to come hang out with us. Come talk to us at some point. We can keep the chat right here.
Yeah. That's a dangerous game.
It's brave to do that.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous game.
You're asking,
but it is one that can be done.
Everyone, go check out. I put out a mock draft, Southern Saints mock draft today on Canal Street Chronicles. How did that go?
Getting them views.
You want to see the shirt that I got sent today, Ross?
Yeah, yeah.
It's from our boss, Chris Dunnels.
Oh, dope. Nice. A little thank you, Drew shirt.
Yeah.
That's dope.
And this is what I've been spending my free time with.
Yes. I still haven't gotten to watch that show yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Boop. That's where I'm at.
Wow. Tearing through.
Yeah. It is a comic book. So like it's like there's not a ton of like.
Look, I can't read, dude. So like you're way ahead of where I would be. I wouldn't have purchased it because I would have had no idea what it was. All right, you ready?
Nope.
All right, here we go. All right, everybody, welcome back. Dylan and Ross Say Sports here, Full Press Coverage, Full Press Radio Network. Dylan Sanders at Dilly Sanders on Twitter. Myself, Ross Jackson at Ross Jackson Nola on Twitter. And of course, you can always follow Full Press Radio at Full Press Radio. So the NFL has decided to expand the regular season to 17 games. The CBA that was agreed upon before the 2020 season stipulated that in order for that to happen, a TV deal would have to be reached first. That deal got done about a little bit over a week ago. I think you can technically say a couple of weeks ago now. $113 billion new television deal in the books. And then the CBA also stipulated that if the NFL were to expand to 17 games, they would have to eliminate one of the preseason games as well. So the NFL sends out a memo that basically says, listen, enhanced schedule, 17 games, and now 3 preseason games. And there was an additional detail there about international games as well, basically saying that every team would play at least one international game in a 5-year stretch starting in 2022. So we won't see any international games being added for 2021 at this time in terms of above the most. I don't think you might see any. I don't know if you're going to see any international games this season at all. But the idea being basically that it's a 17 game season now, 3 preseason games. And then eventually you expand to more international games. AFC teams are going to be hosting these matchups in 2021. NFC teams are expected to host the matchups in 2022, the ones that don't go international. Are there any specific well, first of all, on the deal of the 17th game, how are you feeling about it? Do you feel like the NFL should have done it, shouldn't have done it? You have any thoughts on the process at all?
I don't like it.
Yeah.
But it's whatever. I mean, like, we'll get used to it. What I don't really care about is the whole, like, oh, this is going to affect stats forever.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Couldn't. Let me tell you, Ross, could not care less. Because let me tell you, there's one thing about if you care about those old stats, it was a completely different league then anyway, and the stats from one year are not translatable to his stats from any other year.
Right.
At least in because there's different eras of the game. I don't know. Could not care less about how it's going to affect the stats. I care more about how the fact that it's going to affect the health of the players.
Yes.
That's the big thing. That's the big issue that is a big thumbs down for me.
Yeah, that's really the biggest thing out of all this. Like, for a team that has been for a league rather that has been very adamant about, how they want to preserve and do things well for team health and player health and things like that. Adding a 17th game was a really big question mark because it was like, where are we really going with all of this? And so that is a big deal for me too. You're adding additional risk, of course, for these players. From what I understand, the contracts are being modified so that they pay out over a 17-game span appropriately, but I don't think that they're getting a boost for an additional game. It's just that the contracts go from being paid out over 17 weeks for a 16-game season to paying out over 18 weeks for an 18-game season. That's the only difference. So it's really just that you get paid less per week, from what I understand from what I read of the amendment in the CBA, but I might have, misread it and things like that. But, you can see a lot of the player response across the NFL being mostly negative about this change and this addition. Now, of course, they had to agree to the CBA, which allowed this to happen, but I'm sure that there was a lot of leveraging and things like that were done to put them in the situations where they felt like, yeah, this is the best deal we're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no way the NFL, once they saw the open lane to increase the season to 17 games, there was no way they weren't going to do that. Like, from a revenue aspect, there was absolutely no way they weren't going to increase the product. And I don't think that one game messes the exclusivity thing to where, like, all of a sudden, oh, now no game matters. I've heard that argument before. It's where it's like, oh, well, 16 games meant that every game mattered. I don't think adding one game changes that, but I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm. I don't think so either. I think you're right.
Yeah, I think that, like, with a 17th game with an additional playoff team per conference, it still matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't see that argument. But I think for me, it's a player safety conversation for the most part. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, will we see expanded? I think the idea was that we'll start to see expanded rosters, expanded practice squads, things like that. I'm kind of hoping that some of the rules that they made last year for players being able to come off of injured reserve, unlimited amounts of players being able to come off of injured reserve, and they can do so after 3 weeks at the earliest for a short-term injured reserve. I like all of that. The elevation to the game day roster for 2 players from the practice squad to have essentially a 47th and 48th player available with you on the team, as opposed to just having the 6 inactives. Like, I enjoy all of that. And I hope that they keep that with this 17th game in mind.
Yeah. Ross.
What
do we like to do?
Mock drafts.
Do we? Are you sure?
I do. I mean, I am. But is that the thing you were thinking?
Yes.
Oh, dope.
I'm just messing with you.
There we go.
We love to do mock drafts. So what we want to do, Ross, is here for the last little bit of the show. Let's take a look at Pro Football Network's mock draft simulator. Our favorite, right?
Mm-hmm. I like this one. I like Draft Network, but I like this one because trades are free and all that stuff, and people can use it.
Trades are free. Yeah. I like the trade logic a little bit better also. But let's take a look, Ross, and see first overall pick. Where should we go?
I mean, it's Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, you sure it's not Rashawn Slater?
Yeah, no, I'm positive. And if you're watching along with us, you remember wherever you're watching, you can comment or reply and help us make some of these decisions as well. But Trevor Lawrence is the undeniable first overall selection for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And you know what pisses me off about this? I know I'm getting ready for.
What?
April 29th, first round, Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock.
Oh,
they're going to use all 12 minutes of that clock.
Oh, did you see okay, Ross, did you see this is one of my favorite things that I forgot to mention. So TII Bank Field, that is the home field of the Jaguars. They were like, who's going to be the first pick or whatever, and they did this graphic and they had an outline of a football player, and then the outline was clearly of Trevor Lawrence.
They couldn't just use like a generic football player.
No, it was
from
like
a movie or something. Like,
it was specifically a picture of Trevor Lawrence turned into an outline.
That's so bad. That's so bad. Oh my goodness.
But they're going to use the entire, 10 minutes?
Oh yeah, they'll use every minute of that clock before they go up there, and then some.
Yeah, because then it'll be like
it'll hit all zeros. Exactly, it'll hit all zeros.
Is in, and then it'll be that for 5 minutes.
Yep.
Then of course Goodell will be booed. What do you think about Trevor Lawrence not going to the draft? He's not attending the draft.
I think it's great.
Yeah,
good for him. Be with your family. Be with the people that matter around you.
Be with your friends and family. Who cares about you going up, saying what up to Roger Goodell? It should be a virtual draft anyway. Again,
yeah,
because it was great last year.
Yeah, I don't know how many people actually care about not walking across the stage when drafted. That's not to say that people don't. It's not to say people don't, but I don't know how many people really would rather do that than be with their family.
Best part of the draft, Roger Goodell getting booed. I assume Al Salas is talking about. Shout out Al. All right, let's move on. Let's
all right, Trevor Lawrence.
We
spent long enough. We Jacksonville Jaguared all 12 minutes.
We were complaining, and then we did it ourselves. Do you think that's what they're doing in the draft? Is making fun of people? Making fun of the whole
making fun of Roger Goodell. Yeah,
oh, definitely. Roger Goodell. Look at this. Look at that suit. Suit. Come on, nerd. Boo.
Pick number two.
Okay, Ross. Is it what we would do or what we think is going to happen?
Let's go with what we think is going to happen, because this is an argument that I've been making all week ever since the 49ers traded up. Quarterback 2 does not mean second quarterback drafted. Those two things do not equate with one another. Right? Because one might be a better fit with a team that drafts ahead of the next team that takes a quarterback.
So like Zach Wilson fits with a Jet because he's the worst quarterback and the Jets are the worst team. So it's going to be Zach Wilson at number 2 overall to the Jets, and then Justin Fields at 3 to the 49ers, right?
That's correct.
Incredible.
And no, not Mac Jones. Incredible pro day throw by Justin Fields. By the way, rolling to his left.
Do you think he specifically did the same exact throw?
I think it's a pretty common throw for a pro day workout. I know. You know what I mean?
But he did back up a little bit.
Yeah.
He did back up a little bit.
He did his thing. Like he made sure people knew.
He did back up about 10 yards. You love to see it. I loved it. Ross. Best pro day throw I've seen this year.
There you go.
Yeah. Again, pro day doesn't matter. Unless you're Landon Dickerson and you're doing cartwheels.
It's not even the workouts. It's the extra stuff. That's what matters. Yeah, yes. No, Justin Fields is the guy.
Yeah. I will say, Ross, there was a player that worked out at a pro day today that will be on the Whole Nine Sports podcast soon.
Ooh, very nice.
And it is someone that specifically us at Whole Nine Sports is very excited to talk about that may not be hyped up other places.
Okay. Very dope.
Yeah.
Very dope.
Yeah. It is a single letter position.
You're trying to hint it to me.
I'm trying to hint
You're trying to hint it to me, but you're just gonna have to tell me later.
I will.
You're just gonna have to tell me later.
All right.
All right. Justin Fields.
Yes.
That's
Justin
number
Fields.
3 overall.
3. Number 4, Ross. What should the Falcons do?
They should trade back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think we're doing trades, but they should trade back. But if they don't trade back,
I mean, we can do trades if you want to do trades, Ross.
So here's the thing. It depends on how quickly or how far up a team wants to get ahead of Carolina. Just, because Carolina is probably not going to trade up to 4. Not with the Atlanta Falcons, a division rival, they'll get fleeced. But Carolina could trade up to 7 and then just hope that Atlanta doesn't trade back. Because jumping from 15 to 4 as the New England Patriots is tough. Jumping from 19 to 4 as the Washington football team, that's a huge
Nearly
jump.
Impossible.
Huge jump.
Jumping to 28 to 4, Ross.
Completely possible.
Yeah. More likely.
So I think that the Atlanta Falcons,
I could see the pain / anger in Dylan's eyes picking Wilson at 2.
It was there. So I have a lot of trouble conceiving of a trade scenario for the Falcons to move back from 4. So I think they stay here. They take Kyle Pitts.
All right. All righty. Let's do it. Kyle Pitts at 4. At number 5, Ross, are you scared? Does Penei Sewell's picture scare you from taking it?
No,
not
at all. Penei Sewell is the second, if not first best player in this draft. I go with Penei Sewell.
You got to go Penei Sewell. At number 6, Ross, is a thing what we would do versus what we think could happen.
Nope. Yep, we're sticking with what we think could happen. I think it's got to be one of the Alabama receivers here.
This is what I was thinking. This is what I was going to say, Ross. I think Jamar Chase should be the first wide receiver taken, but I think towards the draft period, I think Jalen Waddle we could easily see be the first receiver taken.
Yep.
And I think that the Dolphins are more likely to take a Jalen Waddle as opposed to a Jamar Chase.
Agreed.
Whether or not that's the right choice.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Jalen Waddle.
And then, so at 7,
now,
is there any team that wants to trade up?
Yes, there's 3. There's 3, maybe even 4. So Carolina could trade up here from 8 to 7 to keep another team from jumping up in front of them for a quarterback.
Now, do you think this is what happens, Ross?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the Lions get on a phone call? They get a call. Ross, I want you to. Okay, you're the Carolina Panthers, and you're receiving a phone call from the Lions. We're doing one of our famous skits right now. Ross.
All right.
Ring.
Hello,
Ring.
Carolina Panthers.
Hey, listen, man. It's the Dolphins. I mean, it's the Lions. Sorry, I've been working off the.
It's a long day, man.
It's a long day, man. It's a long day,
Everybody's
man.
using up the entire 12 minutes on the clock. It's crazy.
Yeah, listen. There's last year we just twiddled our thumbs. We had our pick in before we were even on the clock.
Yeah,
and we just farting around for a couple minutes. Let's get at the business, Ross.
Oh, that's not what you were calling me about. All right, what's up?
No. Okay, so we're about to pick. Right? We're on the clock right now.
Mm-hmm.
Old boy Trey Lance is available.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Jones is available if that's what you're into. Man, those draft media guys.
Why are you laughing?
Mac Jones is
Oh, okay.
Mac Jones.
All right.
Mac Jones.
Who?
Even we have to do that.
Yeah. So listen, we've gotten a lot of trade offers to jump ahead of you, but I wanted to be nice and give you an opportunity to offer us more than them to move up one pick. Is that something you're interested in doing?
No, we're good.
All right, hang up.
There you go.
Because I think that's how that would happen. It would be.
I agree.
The Lions would get offers, and then they would have to. Then the Carolina Panthers would have to then justify offering more than these teams because they would have to offer more than these teams. It wouldn't be a nice thing,
right?
Especially because it's Dan Campbell,
right?
Saint hashtag shout out. He'd do us a solid and make them give up way more. Yeah. That's how the NFL works,
right? No, but I mean, like that would be a tough situation for the Carolina Panthers to be in because it's like you have two quarterbacks on the board. If you are quarterback hungry as the Carolina Panthers, you're okay with if Trey Lance gets drafted and you go with Mac Jones. If Mac Jones gets drafted ahead of you, then you go with Trey Lance. Maybe I imagine you're okay with that. But the other side of it is that like Carolina's got a lot more work to do than just the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they get a quarterback like Mac Jones or Trey Lance, and then all of a sudden they're done. No. They have a lot of work left to do. An entire offensive line to build. So it doesn't matter what quarterback you put back there. If you don't have the offensive line, ain't going to matter. Ask Cincinnati. You have to get an offensive line. You have to get a cornerback, but either you have to get starting cornerbacks. You've got to get probably, address the wide receiver position, like the defensive interior. Like there's still so many different places where they need to do some work here.
Yeah.
So do we I don't think you give up assets to get up and grab a quarterback where you're going to need those assets to continue to fill around the team.
So do we want to have like a Broncos or a Patriots trade up to 7?
So that would be my thing, would be either the Broncos, the Patriots, or even potentially the Washington football team. This is a little bit easier for them to trade into the top 10 here at the end of the bottom of the top 10 as opposed to trading up to the top 5. This is a spot for me. I think, though, that it's hard to project the trade. But if either team was going to trade up, the two teams that are most likely to trade up for me are either the Patriots or the Washington football team.
All right. Do you want to have one of them trade up?
Do you want to do it?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's have I'm going to say let's have the Washington football team trade up.
All right, with the Lions. So 19-7. What else are they going to have to give? Are they going to have to give them next year's
give
first?
Up a first for next year. And then probably because we can't do other future firsts here, let's just throw in 51 because I feel like you'd have to do that as well.
All right, and I got accepted.
Perfect. So then we have the Washington football team
Davis
trading
Mills
up to 7 for Davis Mills. And I think that this is Trey Lance.
Yes, it's Trey Lance.
And for Ryan Fitzpatrick, this is a nightmare. So that's.
I think Ryan Fitzpatrick survives the year as the starting quarterback with Trey.
I think so too. Like he'll be fine. He'll get another contract somewhere else next season, or he'll retire, and then Trey Lance takes over next season.
All right. Where do the Panthers go?
So the Panthers still have a lot of work to do. Christian Darrisaw makes a ton of sense here. Rashawn Slater makes a ton of sense here. You could go with the edge rusher and Gregory Rousseau. I know he struggled a bit. You can go with a wide receiver. I think there's a lot of good spots here. Or you can go with Mac Jones. I don't think that they do, but you could also go that route.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Christian Darrisaw.
I think that's great.
Or Rashawn Slater. Which one do you have? Do they need interior help? Because then you could have
they need help.
of a. I think Rashawn Slater. I think they go Rashawn Slater here.
It's great for me
because he offers the versatility to fit whatever their roster looks like next season.
That works.
I think he should be a tackle, but whatever. At 9, the Broncos here. I go Kwity Paye here if I'm them.
I think that's fine. They've invested really well at the outside corner positions here over free agency. I don't think you need to jump for a JC Horn here or another corner. You certainly could.
I go Kwity Paye or Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah if I'm them.
I'm about Kwity Paye here. Kwity Paye makes sense to be here.
All right. Or is there an edge you like better here?
Not for Denver.
Okay. 10, the Cowboys.
Cowboys, I like an edge rusher for them too, was Azeez Ojulari, but I could also see them going corner. And
I think
Patrick
I think they should Patrick Surtain, who's dropped
Yeah,
here
I think
to their
that makes
lap
sense.
at 10.
I think that makes sense.
The Giants, this is easy for me. It's Jamar Chase.
Oh, that's great.
At 12, the Eagles, Devonta Smith.
Yeah,
Boom. Easy. Chargers,
not
again,
bad for a trade back.
Christian Darrisaw.
Darrisaw makes perfect sense.
The Vikings, Ver Tucker.
Makes sense.
Boom. And then now, do they go Mac Jones at 15?
I think they do.
Boom. All right, so let's go Mac Jones. And then at 16, what do they need now? What do
Corner.
the Cardinals need now? They need corner.
JC Horn's right there.
JC Horn. You go JC Horn here.
Yeah.
All right, 17. Michael Parsons or Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is the
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Here's the thing. I think the Raiders would go Michael Parsons.
Oh, okay.
With the 4.39,
Mm-hmm.
he seems like a Raider.
Okay.
If I again, I personally would have Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah go first.
Yeah,
But
I
I think
It's
Michael
more-
Parsons fits
yeah.
the profile of a Raider more.
That makes sense to me.
The 18, the Dolphins.
Woof. Take your pick. They could
He could go anywhere.
anywhere. They could go running back. They could go. I mean, I know we often see running back here. They could go Azeez Ojulari.
I go Azeez Ojulari or Jalen Phillips here if I'm them.
I like either one of them.
I think I like the.
I like
fit with
Jalen Phillips. I think more.
I think the Jalen Phillips fit here more. Right.
Yeah.
All right. The 19, the Lions trade back, and Where are you going with them?
I was going to say, I mean, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is perfect.
Yeah. What a great for a trade back.
That's just a fantastic fit.
Yeah.
That's great.
Bears. Again, take your pick. That's what for
real.
Tevin Jenkins I actually like here a lot.
Tevin Jenkins, it's great.
Yeah. 21. The Colts. What do the Colts need? A lot.
Offensive line, maybe Cosme.
Mm-hmm. Cosme the best one. Yeah, they could go Farley here.
Could go Farley.
They could go Bateman, Tony.
Mm-hmm. I like Cosme to them personally, but
like Cosme? Let's go Cosme. I'm down to go Cosme. Titans.
Who's still on the board at edge rusher? Yeah, Azeez Ojulari. Yeah.
Ojulari. Jets. Jette. Jets. They got Zach Wilson. So who's the second best player at a position available? Man, again, take your pick. Farley or Rousseau, Barmore, even Bateman.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. Maybe Farley.
Yeah, I think they can take the chance on Farley.
Mm-hmm.
Steelers. I think Rousseau and Barmore both make great sense here.
They're both great picks for them. Either or. They just lost Bud Dupree. You lost some presence on the edge.
Let's go Rousseau for them.
Let's do it. Oh, we're going into overtime today.
Yeah, no, we gotta see. Jaguars. So I like Morig. I like Morig
would be great.
I like Morig or Holland for them here, but yeah, let's go Morig.
Morig would be great. Yeah.
Browns.
What's his name? The corner.
Greg Newsom.
Yep.
Yeah, like that. Ravens.
Oh, there's no linebacker left for them to steal. Najee Harris, Rashad Bateman.
Let's go Bateman. I like that fit a lot.
That's great. I like that.
Saints Barmore.
Barmore, yep.
I like that a lot. I like that fit a lot as we keep going. The Packers, man, I would love Rondell more to them, but I don't think they go him here. Tony?
Yeah, go Tony.
Yeah.
Tony or Mitchell. Or Marshall, excuse me.
The Bills.
Mayfield. Side, you can go Collins.
I don't think they go.
This feels like a trade back situation for me.
I think they should trade back.
Yeah.
What do they need? I also wouldn't mind Marshall here for them.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm about it.
That's interesting. I don't think I've seen that much.
Big bodied receiver, but also deep threat. I think it's perfect for Josh Allen and across from Stephon Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs got to go offensive line here.
Yeah.
I go
Jalen Mayfield's great.
Landon Dickerson for that interior.
Yep.
You want to go Landon Dickerson?
That's great.
And then for 32, the Buccaneers.
Najee Harris.
Let's do it. I'm about it. That sounds awesome. All right. Cool deal.
There we go. That's our first round mock draft. All right, we went overtime with everybody today. Thanks so much for sticking around with us. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be joined by our good friend Sarah Griffin to help preview the MLB season. Thursday, we also have our good friend Amanda Smith coming through to talk about women's NCAA Final Four. So a lot of great stuff coming up here throughout the week. Make sure that you continue to stick along with us at Dilly Sanders on Twitter, at Ross Jackson Nola on Twitter, at Full Press Radio, as well as at fullpressradio.com. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern.